In this lesson, we'll be talking about implementing hexadecimal, RGB, and HSL. If you want to follow along, go ahead and open up colorandtransparency.html in your working files folder. I've now got this open in my browser here, and here in my text editor. If I say RGB 000 and set that as the background color of this box, you'll see we get black. If I set it to 255, 255, 255, you'll see we get white. That's because this represents red, this represents green, and this represents blue, and 255 is the highest value we can put. 0 is the lowest. In this case, we're throwing all the light we can out of our red, green, and blue channels, and as we established in the previous movie, full red, full green, full blue makes white. No red, no green, no blue makes black. If we want to get some number in between, we could type something like 100, 100, 100. Now we have kind of a dark medium gray. If we wanted a little bit more red, we could say 160, 100, 100. And now we have a slightly red color. And it's literally just by tweaking these numbers that you get all the colors of the rainbow. The more you work with RGB, the easier it'll be to do color mixing in your head and then put it down in the document. If you get really good at it, you can ask someone to give you a color, and then you can type out the RGB, and they'll look at you like you're some kind of wizard. That's always fun. Let's talk about HSL now. HSL 0 hue, is red. Let's give a saturation of 50% and a lightness of 50%, and now we get red. You'll notice this red is not pure red. This red is kind of a desaturated red because we put a saturation of 50%. The lightness of 50% puts it right in between white and black, which is why we get a color instead of a very light color or white, or a very dark color or black. If I wanted to lighten this up, I could just make this 80%, say. And now we have a much lighter color. The reason it looks so grayish is actually because the background here is slightly red. If I change to the other side of the color wheel, 180, you'll find that we're talking about teal. If you go through and memorize roughly where different colors are in the color wheel, 120 is green, 240 is blue. HSL is actually a very easy way to create colors. The color part of it is right here, and then the saturation is here, and then how light or dark is here. Now let's move away from HSL and let's talk about hexadecimal. Now hexadecimal is by no means new, but it definitely is misunderstood by a lot of people. I'm going to talk about the shortcut hexadecimal, the 3-digit hexadecimal numbers. If we type FFF with a pound before it, we'll get white. If we type 000, we'll get black. Now 000, we've seen that before, and we saw that with RGB. It turns out the way you count with hexadecimal is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 is actually represented with the letter A. 11 is B, then C, then D, then E, then F. F represents 15. If you're doing the shorthand here, 15 is the highest you can go. So that means FFF is the most you can send through red, green, and blue. This first one's red, second one's green, third one's blue. Now if I write something like CCC, now I've got a gray color. If I want to add a little bit more blue, I can take the C and bring it up a little bit. Maybe I'll say CCE instead. And now you'll see it's significantly more blue. A lot of times you'll see hexadecimal values that are something like this. FF, FF, FF. In this case, the first FF pair represents red. This is green, this is blue. It's kind of like we have 2 digits when we're talking about the numbers between 0 and 99. We can say 01, 02, 03, go up to 21, 22, 23, and our max is 99. Remember that with hexadecimal, the max is F. It goes higher than 9. And FF is the equivalent of 99 in base 16 in hexadecimal. So this first number, FF, represents full red, this is full green, this is full blue. Technically, you're supposed to use the 6-digit one, but there's no harm in using the 3-digit one if you're okay with the slightly decreased accuracy you get. So as you can see, although we have hexadecimal, RGB, and HSL, the new one is HSL, and it turns out RGB and hexadecimal are exactly the same thing. They're just written slightly differently. Let's refresh and we can see our white there from the FFF. Now I've written 4 background color properties, and you can see that the last one is the one that wins. Typically, you would only have one instance of each property. The only reason we have multiple here is because I was showing you multiple ways of using the background color property.